Welcome to 101 Random Facts that will make you question everything you think you know. Please comment where you are watching from and enjoy. Number 1. Until 1999, the red disc on the Japanese flag was not perfectly centered. It was actually shifted 1% to the left. This tiny offset was due to aesthetic reasons, as designers believed it looked more visually centered. However, the government eventually corrected this detail to create a more symmetrical and balanced flag. The current version is now perfectly centered and standardized, representing the rising sun more accurately and symbolically across all official uses and displays in modern Japan. Number 2. In 1985, video game publisher Firebird released a game compilation called Don't Buy This. It featured the 5 worst games ever submitted to them. The compilation was a satirical gesture intended to mock the developers who submitted low-quality titles. Firebird not only disowned the copyright, but also encouraged buyers to pirate the games. This made it one of the most unusual and openly critical releases in gaming history, turning a joke into a product that openly invited piracy. Number 3. In 1967, the North American X-15 set the world record for fastest manned aircraft flight. It achieved an astonishing speed of Mach 6.72, which is over 4,500 miles per hour, or approximately 7,300 kilometers per hour. This experimental rocket-powered plane was piloted by the United States Air Force and NASA, and its record still stands today as the fastest flight speed ever achieved by a manned aircraft in Earth's atmosphere. Number 4. An analysis of judges at the California State Fair wine competition, the oldest wine contest in North America, revealed shocking inconsistency. Only about 1 in 10 judges regularly rated the same wine in a similar way across different sessions. The study showed that personal preferences and subjective judgment play a huge role in wine scoring. This inconsistency raised serious questions about the objectivity and reliability of wine awards, suggesting that even professional judges are often influenced by unpredictable factors. Number 5. The musical satirist Tom Lehrer famously ended his performance career when Henry Kissinger was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize. Lehrer, known for his biting political humor, stated that, when Kissinger won the Nobel Peace Prize, satire died. This statement captured his disillusionment with the political climate and reflected his belief that irony itself had been rendered obsolete. Lehrer then retreated from public performance, leaving behind a legacy of clever and sharp musical commentary that resonated with audiences worldwide during the Cold War era. Number 6. Japanese gossip YouTuber Gussie, known for his controversial content, actually won a seat in Japan's parliament. He conducted his campaign entirely from Dubai, relying on over 1.2 million subscribers for support. However, after being elected, he never returned to Japan or attended a single session of parliament. As a result, he was expelled in 2023, becoming the first parliament member in 72 years to be removed from office due to persistent absenteeism and dereliction of duty. Number 7. There are only 16 trademarked scents officially recognized in the United States. These include unusual and distinct smells such as Crayola crayons, ocean-scented indoor playgrounds, and even a weapon cleaner with a pungent mix of ammonium and kerosene. Trademarking a scent is extremely rare and difficult, as it must be proven to uniquely identify the source of a product. These few examples stand out in legal and commercial history for their ability to connect scent with brand identity. Number 8. Actress Tanya Roberts, who played a Bond girl and Donna's mom on That 70s Show, tragically passed away from a urinary tract infection. The infection advanced rapidly, developing into sepsis and causing multi-organ failure. Her decline began after she noticed discomfort while hiking. The next day, she collapsed from bed and was unable to stand. Despite being active and seemingly healthy, her condition deteriorated quickly, highlighting how serious untreated infections can become, even for people who appear to be in good health. Number 9. The emperor penguin, while often seen as adorable, is incredibly strong and resilient. In one documented case, a group of 6 men attempted to capture a single male penguin for a zoo exhibit. However, the penguin fought back fiercely, tossing the men around and knocking them over repeatedly. It ultimately took all 6 individuals working together to subdue the bird. These penguins can weigh nearly half as much as a human, and they are remarkably powerful for their size and appearance. Number 10. Over 99% of all species that have ever existed on Earth, estimated to be about 5 billion, are now extinct. This massive extinction rate spans the full history of life on the planet, from the earliest microorganisms to complex organisms. Many of these species disappeared through natural processes like climate shifts, volcanic activity, asteroid impacts, and other environmental changes. This extinction rate emphasizes the fragile nature of life and how evolution constantly reshapes which organisms dominate the world's ecosystems. Number 11. Walt Disney loved drawing and storytelling. In the early 1900s, a young Walt Disney discovered his love for drawing and storytelling. With a sketch pad in hand, he began working his artistic skills, laying the foundation for the creative genius that would shape the future of entertainment as we know it. Number 12. For over 56 years, the White House was freely open to the public. In 1829, after President Andrew Jackson's inauguration, about 20,000 citizens followed him back to the White House. The crowd flooded the building, creating chaos and forcing Jackson to escape through a window and seek refuge in a hotel. Eventually, presidential aides managed to clear out the rowdy guests by luring them outside with giant tubs of whiskey and orange juice, ending the unexpected party. Number 13. The movie Home Alone had an unexpected cultural impact in Germany. In 1991, the name Kevin became the most popular baby name in the country due to the film's popularity. However, the name later became associated with negative stereotypes and lower social status. This trend even led to the creation of the term Kevinismus, a word used in Germany to describe the bias or judgment people receive based on trendy, exotic, or foreign-sounding names perceived as low status. Number 14. Media tycoon. Kerry Packer was known for his extravagant generosity. In one famous instance, he accidentally knocked into a cocktail waitress, causing her to spill drinks. To make up for it, he paid off her entire mortgage, worth $130,000. In another case, simply for good service, he tipped a waitress by paying off her $150,000 mortgage. These stories reflect Packer's reputation for lavish gestures and his immense personal wealth and influence. Number 15. Around the time George Washington's family moved to Virginia, another branch of the family relocated to the Netherlands. There, they rose in social rank and eventually became Bavarian nobility under the title Barons von Washington. Generations later, one of these descendants wrote to his American relatives asking for permission to serve in the United States Army. However, despite their shared ancestry, his request was denied. The story highlights the surprising global branches of even the most iconic American families. Number 16. The first spacewalk, conducted by Soviet cosmonaut Alexei Leonov in 1965, was riddled with dangerous complications. During the mission, Leonov's suit inflated in the vacuum of space, making it difficult to move and almost impossible to re-enter the spacecraft. His feet slipped out of their restraints, and he struggled to maneuver. After finally returning inside, the capsule landed in a snowy forest far from the recovery team. The crew waited more than a day in freezing conditions without a heater. Number 17. When the Henry Ford Company dissolved in 1902, Ford's financial backers brought in engineer Henry M. Leland to appraise the assets for liquidation. However, Leland convinced them to stay in the automobile business. Using his own engine design, he helped establish a new company, Cadillac. The brand would go on to become a symbol of luxury and innovation in the American automotive industry, all thanks to a single man's vision and technical expertise during a company's collapse. Number 18. In 1912, fossilized bones believed to represent a prehistoric human missing link were discovered in Piltdown, England. The so-called Piltdown Man was accepted as authentic for over 40 years. In 1953, however, scientists discovered it was a hoax. The skull came from a medieval human, the jaw was from an orangutan, and the teeth were filed down chimpanzee fossils. The Piltdown Man remains one of the most infamous scientific frauds in paleoanthropology and evolutionary biology history. Number 19. Despite their resemblance to marine dinosaurs, no dinosaur species ever lived in the ocean. Creatures like ichthyosaurs, plesiosaurs, and mosasaurs were marine reptiles, distinct from true dinosaurs, which lived exclusively on land. These sea reptiles evolved from different ancestors and filled oceanic ecological roles, similar to those of dolphins and whales today. The misconception of ocean dinosaurs is common in popular culture, but paleontologists carefully distinguish between dinosaurs and the various other reptiles that ruled prehistoric waters. Number 20. Between 1791 and 1803, Robert Carter III set out to free all of his 400 to 500 slaves, making it the largest known private emancipation in U.S. history. He went further by hiring and educating those he freed, which caused immense backlash. His family, neighbors, and even local authorities tried to stop him, with some attempting to tar and feather him. Eventually, he was driven from his home, but his commitment to abolition never wavered. Number 21. Miracle on 34th Street, released in 1947, was a Christmas film, but it premiered in June. 20th Century Fox believed that more people went to the movies during the summer and chose to hide the film's holiday theme in its marketing. Advertisements and trailers didn't even mention Christmas and featured actors who weren't in the movie. Despite this unconventional strategy, the film became a beloved classic and is now one of the most iconic holiday movies ever made. Number 22. More people living in Nevada were actually born in California than in Nevada itself. This unusual demographic detail highlights the massive migration patterns from California into Nevada, often driven by lower cost of living, job opportunities, or retirement choices. Las Vegas in particular has been a key destination for people seeking a change from California's high housing costs and taxes. Over the decades, this migration has helped shape Nevada's culture, economy, and even political landscape in significant ways. Number 23. Biofouling is the unwanted accumulation of organisms like barnacles, algae, and mussels on submerged surfaces such as ship hulls or underwater equipment. This biological buildup increases drag, slows vessels down, and significantly reduces fuel efficiency, sometimes requiring up to 40% more fuel to maintain performance. It can also interfere with the function of marine sensors and pipelines. Controlling biofouling is crucial for industries like shipping, energy, and defense, and often requires special coatings or frequent manual cleaning to prevent degradation. Number 24. Elephants are among the most altruistic animals observed in nature. In one documented case in India, an elephant refused its trainer's command to lower a log into a hole because it noticed a dog sleeping at the bottom. Elephants have also been seen helping injured companions, rescuing trapped animals, and even assisting humans in distress. Their ability to recognize suffering and act compassionately shows deep intelligence and emotional awareness, placing them among the most empathetic creatures on the planet. Number 25. During the French Revolution, a man named Jacques Bey captured public attention with his execution by guillotine, but not for the reason you'd expect. Executioners deliberately rigged the guillotine so that the blade would stop inches from his neck, thrilling the gathered crowd. They repeated the trick 3 times, prolonging the spectacle before finally allowing the blade to fall. The stage suspense turned a moment of death into gruesome entertainment, showing how theatrical public executions had become during revolutionary France. Number 26. The upscale Nobu restaurant chain was co-founded by actor Robert De Niro, but it wasn't an overnight venture. He spent 5 years trying to convince world-renowned chef Nobu Matsuhisa to partner with him. De Niro was a longtime fan of Nobu's cooking and believed that the world deserved to experience it. After persistent effort and friendship, Matsuhisa finally agreed, and they opened their first location in 1994. Nobu has since become an internationally recognized brand with global acclaim. Number 27. In 1977, musician Jimmy Buffett was stuck on the 7 Mile Bridge in the Florida Keys when the bridge malfunctioned and remained open. While waiting 3 hours for it to be fixed, Buffett sat on the hood of his car, strummed his guitar, and wrote what would become one of his most famous songs, Margaritaville. Inspired by the heat, the setting, and the laid-back vibe, the song became a defining anthem of his career and beachside lifestyle culture. Number 28. Hand sanitizer, despite its popularity, is ineffective against norovirus. The the highly contagious stomach flu. This virus is resistant to alcohol-based sanitizers, making traditional hand washing with soap and water the best defense. Norovirus can spread rapidly through contact with contaminated surfaces, food, or people. It causes severe gastrointestinal distress and is notorious for outbreaks in schools, cruise ships, and care facilities. Understanding its resilience helps reinforce the importance of proper hygiene, especially in environments where vulnerable individuals may be present. Number 29, the football manager Mikel Arteta, known for his unique leadership methods, once hired professional pickpockets to teach his players a lesson in awareness. During a team event, the pickpockets secretly stole wallets and phones from the players, only to reveal the stunt later. The goal was to illustrate how easily someone can lose focus and how critical constant alertness is, both on and off the field. The memorable exercise reinforced the values of attention, readiness, and mindfulness in everyday and competitive situations. Number 30. The Church of Euthanasia is a nonprofit educational organization that advocates for extreme population reduction to restore balance between humans and the planet's remaining species. Founded in the 1990s, the church promotes controversial environmental messages through shock-based activism. Its core slogan is, "Save the planet, kill yourself," intended as dark satire rather than literal advice. The organization uses performance art, provocative media, and protest to draw attention to overpopulation, ecological damage, and the need for radical changes in human behavior. Number 31. In 1982, artist Agnes Danez planted and harvested a full wheat field right in the middle of New York City. The location was a landfill created during the construction of the World Trade Center and was valued at $4.5 billion at the time. The project, titled Wheatfield, A Confrontation, was both an environmental statement and an artistic protest against misplaced priorities. It highlighted the contrast between natural life and urban development in one of the world's busiest cities. Number 32, Francis Ford, the brother of legendary director John Ford, became famous for portraying Abraham Lincoln in film, appearing as the U.S. president 9 times between 1912 and 1915. In 1913 alone, he played Lincoln in 6 different movies. His repeated portrayal of Lincoln helped define the visual and dramatic representation of the president in early cinema. Although overshadowed by his brother's directing fame, Francis left a lasting impression through these historic performances in the silent film era. Number 33. During the filming of the children's show Teletubbies, the actors' identities were closely guarded to preserve the show's mystique. Producers took elaborate steps to protect their privacy, including blindfolding visitors on set and constructing a private tent where actors could remove their Teletubby costumes without being seen. These precautions were driven by intense media interest in capturing behind-the-scenes photos of the actors without their character heads, and were part of a broader effort to maintain the show's fantasy illusion for children. Number 34. Gavrilo Princip, the man who assassinated Archduke Franz Ferdinand and sparked World War I, was only 27 days shy of his 20th birthday, the minimum age for capital punishment under Austro-Hungarian law. Because of his age, he was sentenced to 20 years in prison instead of death. However, he never lived to serve his full term. He died in prison in 1918, just 4 months before the war ended. His actions drastically altered the course of 20th century history. Number 35. Among all bear species, the brown bear consumes the most diverse diet. In the United States, researchers found stark regional differences. Meat made up about 51% of the Yellowstone grizzly bear's diet, while grizzlies in Glacier National Park, just a few hundred miles away, consumed only 11% meat. This variation is influenced by local ecosystems and available food sources, showing how adaptable and opportunistic brown bears are. They'll eat everything from fish and berries to carrion, insects, and even garbage. Number 36. The 5 colors of the Olympic rings, blue, yellow, black, green, and red, were chosen because at least one of them appears on every national flag in the world. Designed by Pierre de Coubertin in 1913, the rings symbolize the unity of the 5 continents and the coming together of athletes worldwide. The color selection was intentional and inclusive, representing global diversity. This thoughtful design has become one of the most enduring and recognizable symbols in international sports history. Number 37. The belief that caffeine causes dehydration is largely a myth. While caffeine is a mild diuretic, the effect is not strong enough to offset the amount of water typically consumed in caffeinated beverages. Studies have shown that drinks like coffee and tea still contribute to overall hydration. This misconception likely arose from earlier research with exaggerated interpretations. In reality, moderate caffeine consumption does not significantly impact hydration, and drinks containing caffeine can be part of a healthy daily fluid intake. Number 38. In 1992, a man named William Brennan walked out of the Stardust Casino in Las Vegas with $500,000 in stolen cash and chips. He was a cashier who simply vanished without a trace. Brennan has never been found, and neither has the money. He was placed on the FBI's most wanted list, but in 2006, when the Stardust closed, he was removed. The case remains one of the most successful unsolved casino thefts in U.S. history. Number 39. In February of 2024, South Korea's K-Star nuclear fusion reactor sustained a temperature of 100 million degrees Celsius for 48 seconds. The achievement marked a significant step toward sustainable nuclear fusion energy. Scientists aim to maintain that temperature for 300 seconds by 2026. K-Star, often called the Korean artificial sun, is part of a global effort to create clean, limitless energy. Fusion could revolutionize power generation without the long-term waste associated with nuclear fission. Number 40. During the filming of Gladiator, actor Oliver Reed, who played Proximo, died unexpectedly in a bar. He had challenged a group of British sailors to a drinking contest and passed away that same night. His remaining scenes were completed using CGI, a relatively new and expensive technology at the time. Reed's untimely death shocked the production, but his performance remained in the final film. It became one of his most memorable roles, and the film went on to win Best Picture. Number 41. Hindsight bias, also known as the knew-it-all-along effect or creeping determinism, is a common psychological phenomenon where people believe past events were more predictable than they actually were. After an event happens, individuals often convince themselves they saw it coming, even if they had no real evidence beforehand. This bias can distort memory, influence decision-making, and make learning from mistakes harder, since people may fail to recognize their own gaps in knowledge or judgment prior to the outcome. Number 42. John Carpenter's Halloween, released in 1978, was made on a budget of just $300,000. Despite its low cost, the film went on to gross around $70 million worldwide. This made it one of the most successful and profitable independent films ever made. Its simple yet suspenseful storytelling, iconic score, and introduction of the character Michael Myers helped define the slasher genre and influence horror films for decades to come. It remains a Halloween staple. Number 43. Despite his fame, Elvis Presley never wrote lyrics for any of his songs. He released more than 24 albums and over 100 singles, but he relied on professional songwriters to craft the lyrics and melodies. His strength was in performance. His voice, style, and charisma turned other people's words into unforgettable hits. While some artists write their own material, Presley's legacy proves that powerful interpretation and delivery can be just as impactful in shaping musical history and culture. Number 44. On May 9, 1969, an episode of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood aired that subtly broke racial barriers. Fred Rogers invited Officer Clemens, played by African-American actor Francois Clemens, to join him in cooling his feet in a small plastic pool. At the time, many public swimming pools were still segregated in the United States. Sharing the pool and towel on television sent a quiet but powerful message about inclusion, kindness, and equality during a time of social change. Number 45. During World War II, Allied prisoners of war imprisoned at Colditz Castle in Germany constructed a full-sized glider in the attic of the fortress. Their daring plan was to cut a hole in the roof and fly the glider to safety. The glider, called the Colditz Cock, was completed, but never flew. The war ended before the escape could be attempted. Still, it remains one of the most ambitious and inventive escape plans devised by POWs during the entire war. Number 46. The anime streaming platform Crunchyroll began as an illegal pirating site. When it launched in 2006, it allowed users to upload unlicensed anime content. Despite this questionable start, Crunchyroll received venture capital funding and eventually transitioned into a legal platform by securing licenses from Japanese studios. Today, it's a major force in global anime distribution. Its early days reflect how disruptive platforms can evolve, clean up their business models, and eventually become respected parts of the entertainment industry. Number 47. In 1956, IBM introduced the world's first hard drive, called RAMAC, which stood for Random Access Method of Accounting and Control. The device held less than 5 megabytes of storage, but took up the space of an entire room. It was not sold, but leased at a cost of $3,200 per month, which equals about $228,000 today. This giant leap in data storage technology marked the beginning of modern computing history. Number 48. In 1990, Volvo ran a staged ad campaign in the United States that nearly destroyed its reputation. The ad showed a monster truck driving over several cars, crushing them, except the Volvo, which appeared indestructible. However, it was later discovered that the Volvo had been secretly reinforced with steel, and the other vehicles were deliberately weakened. The deception sparked outrage, and the company faced backlash and legal trouble. It became a cautionary tale about truth in advertising and brand trust. Number 49. George Carlin's legendary comedy routine, 7 Dirty Words, performed in 1972, led to a groundbreaking legal case. In 1978, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that the Federal Communications Commission could regulate indecent material on public airwaves, especially during times when children might be listening. The ruling established important standards for broadcasting, free speech, and censorship. Carlin's routine, full of satire and linguistic commentary, became one of the most significant moments in comedy and media law history. Number 50. The ancient Roman poet Gaius Valerius Catullus wrote a poem titled Catullus 16 that remained unpublished for centuries due to its shocking vulgarity. The very first line translates to, "I will sodomize and face-fucks you," a direct and crude attack on his literary rivals. Though shocking by today's standards, the poem was a bold example of poetic freedom and Roman culture's complexity. It is now studied as a provocative piece of ancient literature, illustrating early forms of satire and insult poetry. Number 51. The first known person killed by an automobile was a woman who wasn't just any pedestrian. She was a naturalist, astronomer, microscopist, author, and artist. Her death came at the hands of an experimental steam-powered car built by her own cousins. She tragically fell beneath the wheels during a demonstration, becoming the earliest recorded automobile fatality. Her diverse intellectual contributions make her death even more poignant, marking a bizarre intersection of early scientific progress and the unpredictable consequences of modern invention. Number 52. The song Macarena, released in 1993, launched a global dance craze, but few know its lyrics are actually about infidelity. In the song, a girl named Macarena cheats on her boyfriend while he's away serving in the military. She has affairs with 2 other men during his absence. Despite its upbeat rhythm and party reputation, the song's narrative reveals a more scandalous story. It's a strange contrast between catchy music and morally questionable storytelling, hidden behind rhythmic clapping and dancing. Number 53. Before becoming President of the United States, Gerald Ford was an accomplished football player. After graduating from the University of Michigan, he was offered professional contracts by both the Detroit Lions and the Green Bay Packers, 2 prominent NFL teams. He turned them down to pursue law and a career in politics. His choice led him away from fame on the field and toward leadership on the world stage, ultimately becoming the only U.S. president never elected to national office. Number 54. In the original television run of Gilligan's Island, the castaways never escaped the island. It wasn't until the 1978 TV movie that they were finally rescued, only to become stranded again shortly afterward. A third film, released in 1981, brought even more absurdity when the Harlem Globetrotters visited a resort the castaways had built after being rescued. This series of increasingly surreal sequels expanded the show's bizarre legacy, turning a simple sitcom premise into an enduring pop culture phenomenon. Number 55. Roughly 80% of theatrical productions on Broadway lose money, a failure rate that has stayed consistent for years. Despite high ticket prices and sold-out shows, the vast majority of Broadway plays and musicals don't earn back their production costs. Only a small percentage become profitable, usually through tours, merchandise, and long-term runs. This harsh financial reality reflects the high risks and unpredictable nature of live theater, where creative ambition often battles budgetary limitations and ever-changing audience tastes. Number 56. In the year 2024, scientists confirmed that the moon has a continuously regenerating thin layer of water. This discovery was surprising, given the moon's dry and airless surface. The water forms through a process involving hydrogen ions, from the solar wind reacting with oxygen in the lunar soil to create water molecules. Despite extreme environmental conditions, the moon essentially acts as a tiny, self-renewing water factory in space, reshaping how we think about water in extraterrestrial environments. Number 57. The Great Lakes of North America collectively contain about 21% of the world's surface fresh water. If that water were spread evenly across the United States, it would submerge the country under approximately 9.5 feet of water. These massive lakes, Superior, Michigan, Huron, Erie, and Ontario, form one of the largest freshwater systems on Earth. They support vast ecosystems, shipping routes, and communities, playing a critical role in the region's geography, economy, and environmental stability. Number 58. In the early 1900s, the H.J. Heinz Company was deeply involved in pickle production. Their commitment was so extensive that they patented and deployed a specialized pickle tank railcar just for transporting pickles across the country. These custom railcars preserved freshness during transit and reflected Heinz's innovative approach to food distribution and branding. The pickle car became a symbol of the company's industrial scale and marketing ingenuity, helping to cement Heinz as a household name in America. Number 59. In 2012, pop singer Kesha made an unusual request to her fans. She asked them to send her their human teeth to use for creating art. According to her, she received over 1,000 teeth and used them to craft a top, a headdress, earrings, and necklaces. This bizarre and macabre artistic project shocked many, but it also exemplified her eccentric personality and connection with fans. Kesha's tooth-based art became a strange footnote in the history of pop music. Number 60. The Walt Disney World Resort in Orlando, Florida, spans an area of 110 square kilometers, or about 43 square miles. That's larger than the city of Paris, which covers 105 square kilometers and nearly double the size of Manhattan. This immense scale allows the resort to host multiple theme parks, hotels, and recreational facilities. Disney's decision to buy so much land ensured room for creative expansion and helped transform the area into a global entertainment hub. Number 61. A bank clerk in Germany once accidentally transferred 222 million euros instead of 6,420. The error happened because he fell asleep with his finger on the keyboard, holding down the "to" key. Even more remarkably, his supervisor failed to notice the mistake and approved the transaction. The supervisor was later fired, but in the following year, a German labor court ruled that the dismissal was unfair. The incident highlighted human error in high-stakes digital banking. Number 62. Black Joe's Tavern, opened in 1795 in Marblehead, Massachusetts, was founded by a freed slave and his wife. It became known as a racially integrated bar where hard-drinking fishermen gathered. At a time when segregation was common, the tavern stood out for its inclusiveness. The establishment not only served as a popular local hangout, but also became a symbol of early Black entrepreneurship and social integration, offering a rare glimpse of racial cooperation in early American public spaces. Number 63. A duel in Paris once took to the skies, literally. Two men were hoisted into the air by hot air balloons and attempted to shoot each other down mid-flight. The airborne duel was not only dangerous, but wildly theatrical, with each participant floating hundreds of feet above the ground, armed and ready. One balloon was eventually hit, causing it to plummet. The bizarre event is remembered as one of history's most surreal duels, blending elements of science, showmanship, and violence. Number 64, Sir Paul Nurse, a British geneticist and Nobel Prize winner, had his application for a U.S. green card rejected due to an odd bureaucratic twist. He submitted a short-form UK birth certificate that didn't list his parents. When he applied for a full version, he discovered a family secret. His sister was actually his mother. The revelation not only shocked him personally, but also gained attention in the scientific community, where Nurse is widely respected for his contributions to genetics and cell biology. Number 65, deep beneath the Amazon River, about 2.5 miles underground, flows another massive body of water called the Hamza River. Though not nearly as fast as the Amazon, moving at a glacial pace, it is much wider and saltier. The Hamza is not visible from the surface and was only discovered through deep geological surveys. This hidden river challenges our understanding of South America's hydrological systems and highlights how much remains undiscovered beneath even the world's most studied landscapes. Number 66. Fluoroantimonic acid is considered the strongest acid in the world, and it is trillions of times more acidic than sulfuric acid. So corrosive that it must be stored in specially designed containers, this superacid can even protonate hydrocarbons like methane. It's a dangerous substance used in highly specialized industrial and chemical research settings. Its strength surpasses nearly every other acid on Earth, earning it a reputation for being one of the most extreme and hazardous chemicals ever created by humans. Number 67. Many of Toyota's most iconic car models are named after the concept of royalty, specifically crowns. The Toyota Crown and Tiara are directly named, while the Camry comes from the Japanese word for crown. The Corolla means small crown in Latin, and the Corona also translates to crown in Latin. This naming convention wasn't random. It was designed to create a sense of prestige, elegance, and continuity throughout Toyota's vehicle lineup. It remains one of the most consistent themes in automotive branding. Number 68. In 1886, Charleston, South Carolina, experienced a devastating earthquake so intense that it led some to speculate Florida had broken off from the mainland. The quake was one of the most powerful to strike the southeastern United States, with tremors felt across multiple states. Buildings were destroyed, rail lines were disrupted, and public panic spread. Because earthquakes are rare in that region, the disaster deeply shocked residents and remains a defining geological event in American history east of the Rockies. Number 69. In 2011, a Dutch memorial intended to honor World War II victims became controversial for a strange reason. The names of Jewish victims, Allied soldiers, and even German soldiers were engraved together, all in the Comic Sans font. After public outrage, the names were removed, only to be rewritten again using Comic Sans. The odd choice of typography on a serious war memorial became a global story, with critics calling it disrespectful and bizarre. It sparked debates on design and public remembrance. Number 70. Many large American football stadiums include sniper nests built into their architecture. These positions are manned by SWAT team members during games and events as a security precaution. From these vantage points, law enforcement officers can oversee large crowds and quickly respond to any high-risk threat, including active shooters or potential terrorist activity. While largely unknown to the general public, these hidden security measures reflect the growing emphasis on stadium safety and crowd control at high-profile sporting events in the United States. Number 71. Bats can live up to 40 years, which is remarkably long for such small mammals. When adjusted for size, only 19 other mammal species live longer than humans, and 18 of those are bats. Their exceptional longevity defies typical biological expectations, as smaller animals generally have shorter lifespans. Scientists study bats for insights into aging and disease resistance. Understanding how bats live so long without suffering from common age-related diseases could lead to medical breakthroughs for humans in the future. Number 72. The tradition of pouring one out for the homies has ancient roots. Archaeological evidence shows that the practice dates back as far as 2500 BC in ancient cultures, where people would pour liquid offerings to honor the dead. In modern times, it's seen in street culture and music, especially in hip-hop, as a tribute to deceased friends. Despite cultural differences across millennia, the act of sharing a drink with the departed continues to symbolize respect, memory, and connection. Number 73. Ants, despite being constantly active, do rest, just not in the way we recognize as sleep. Over a 24-hour period, they take rest breaks totaling about 8 minutes, usually split into 2 cycles. However, only one of those cycles resembles what we would call true sleep. These micro-rests help ants conserve energy while staying functional within their colony's relentless work demands. Their unusual sleep pattern is another example of how differently life has evolved to manage rest across the animal kingdom. Number 74. A unique type of fungus thrives in extremely radioactive environments, including the ruined reactor at Chernobyl, and even inside the International Space Station. This fungus appears to feed on radiation using melanin, the same pigment found in human skin. Scientists are now studying it as a potential shield for future space travel, especially for long missions beyond Earth's protective atmosphere. If successful, this fungus could become a living barrier to cosmic radiation, revolutionizing how we approach safety in deep space exploration. Number 75. In 2009, the British public launched a grassroots campaign to stop reality TV winners from dominating the Christmas music charts. Their mission was to make Rage Against the Machine's Killing in the Name the #1 Christmas single. It worked. The song topped the charts, beating the usual X Factor winner. This marked a rare case of public rebellion against the manufactured pop machine, showing the power of online communities to influence major cultural moments in the music industry. Number 76, Lou Bega, the artist famous for the hit song Mambo No. 5, is often mistakenly assumed to be Cuban. In fact, he was born in Germany to an Italian mother and a Ugandan father. The tropical vibe of Mambo No. 5 was inspired by his teenage years spent in Miami, Florida. Although the song features Latin rhythms and Spanish names, its origins are a blend of African-European heritage and American musical influence, not tied directly to Cuba or Latin America. Number 77. It's been proposed that Eva Perón, Argentina's iconic First Lady, may have undergone a prefrontal lobotomy in the final months of her life. The alleged procedure was not for psychiatric treatment, but instead intended to ease the intense pain, anxiety, and agitation caused by her terminal cancer. Medical documents and reports suggest it may have been performed without her full understanding. The possibility remains controversial and adds a haunting note to the tragic end of a woman worshipped by millions. Number 78. The Amazon River releases such a massive amount of fresh water into the Atlantic Ocean that one can reportedly drink from the ocean's surface up to 200 miles offshore. The fresh water forms a giant plume that floats atop the saltwater because it's less dense. This natural phenomenon demonstrates the Amazon's extraordinary volume and its influence on regional ocean currents, marine ecosystems, and even weather patterns, highlighting the river's role as one of Earth's most powerful natural forces. Number 79, Lake Titicaca, located high in the Andes Mountains between Bolivia and Peru, is the highest navigable lake in the world. Its surface elevation is around 12,570 feet above sea level. It is also the second largest lake in South America, both by volume and surface area. The lake holds deep cultural significance for indigenous Andean peoples and features ancient ruins, floating reed islands, and a history rich with myth and mystery. It remains a stunning natural landmark. Number 80. In the 1950s, Las Vegas turned its proximity to nuclear test sites into a bizarre form of tourism. Hotels and casinos marketed atomic tourism, offering rooftop parties where guests could sip themed cocktails and watch mushroom clouds rise from bomb tests just 65 miles away. These nuclear detonations were treated like spectacles, with timed schedules and promotional materials. It was a surreal mix of glamour and apocalypse that captured the odd cultural fusion of science, fear, and entertainment. Number 81. There is a small Japanese island where cats actually outnumber humans. Historically, residents raised silkworms and kept cats to protect the valuable worms from mice. Over time, the cat population flourished while the human population declined. The locals came to believe that feeding cats brings good fortune, and today the island even has a shrine dedicated to them. This feline paradise has become a tourist attraction, known for its peaceful atmosphere, strong cat presence, and deep ties to traditional Japanese superstition. Number 82. On the first day of the Battle of Gettysburg during the American Civil War, General Henry Heth was struck in the head by a bullet and knocked unconscious. Miraculously, he survived without serious injury. The credit partly goes to his unusually large hat, which had been stuffed with papers to make it fit better. The bullet struck the padded hat, reducing its impact. This strange twist of luck allowed Heth to continue serving and remains a curious Civil War anecdote. Number 83. Actor Nicolas Cage was once bailed out of jail by Dwayne "Dog" Chapman, better known as Dog the Bounty Hunter. The incident occurred during a night of heavy drinking in New Orleans, where Cage was arrested after a public altercation. Chapman, a longtime fan of Cage, posted the bail and spoke publicly about his admiration for the actor. The strange story quickly went viral, blending Hollywood, reality TV, and legal drama into one of the more eccentric moments in celebrity history. Number 84. Obese drivers are about 80% more likely to die in car accidents than those of a healthy weight. The increased fatality rate is due in part to how seatbelts and airbags interact with larger body types. Obesity can also lead to other conditions that make injuries harder to survive or treat. This statistic has sparked conversations about vehicle design, safety standards, and the importance of considering body diversity when creating protective technologies for all types of drivers. Number 85. Over 10,000 babies have reportedly been born as a result of a controversial evangelism method known as flirty fishing, used by the religious cult Children of God. Female members, called fisherwomen, were encouraged to use sexual intimacy to attract men, called fish, outside the cult, offering affection in exchange for donations or conversion. This practice sparked worldwide outrage and legal battles. Many of the children born through this tactic grew up inside the cult, facing intense psychological and social challenges. Number 86. The high five, now a universal gesture of celebration and encouragement, only became popular in the 1970s. Its exact origin is debated, but one of the most recognized stories involves baseball players spontaneously slapping hands during a game. The gesture quickly spread into pop culture, sports, and everyday life. Before that, it wasn't part of mainstream interaction. What started as a spontaneous moment of joy evolved into a symbol of camaraderie that's recognized and used around the world today. Number 87. From the 1990s until 2004, the shortest scheduled commercial flight in the United States lasted just 13 minutes. The route flew from one part of Houston to another within the same city. This quick hop was designed for connecting passengers and convenience, not distance. Though incredibly brief, it operated for over a decade before being discontinued due to changing fuel economics and improved infrastructure. It stands as a curious piece of aviation history reflecting unique travel demands. Number 88. In 2007, the African Union launched an ambitious environmental initiative known as the Great Green Wall. Its goal is to stop the expansion of the Sahara Desert by restoring vegetation in the Sahel region. Spanning the entire width of Africa from Senegal to Ethiopia, the project is supported by the World Bank and various environmental organizations. Trees, grasses, and sustainable farming practices are being used to reclaim the land. It's one of the world's largest ecological restoration efforts. Number 89. David Bowie's song Life on Mars was written as a parody of My Way, famously sung by Frank Sinatra. Interestingly, My Way itself was based on a French tune called Comme d'habitude. Bowie had originally written English lyrics to that melody, but they were rejected. Later, Paul Anka acquired the rights and wrote My Way. Bowie, feeling snubbed, composed Life on Mars in response. The resulting track became one of Bowie's most beloved works, layered with theatricality, irony, and melodic brilliance. Number 90. In the early years of the AIDS epidemic, a spokesperson for the makers of the weight loss candy AIDS was famously quoted saying, The product has been around for 45 years. Let the disease change its name. AIDS, a popular appetite suppressant, saw its sales plummet due to the unfortunate similarity with the acronym AIDS. Despite its longtime presence in pharmacies, the brand could not survive the public association and eventually disappeared. It's a case of branding colliding, unluckily, with tragic global events. Number 91, Hugo Junkers, the founder of Junkers Aircraft and Motor Works, was a pioneering German engineer who strongly opposed Germany's rearmament before World War II. Despite his company later producing bombers for the Nazi regime, Junkers himself resisted militarization. The government seized control of his company, placed him under house arrest, and threatened him with treason. He died not long after. His legacy is complicated, revered for innovation in aviation, but also overshadowed by the misuse of his work during wartime. Number 92. George Lucas originally imagined Indiana Jones as a nightclub-going playboy, more style than substance. But Lucas's writing partner, Philip Kaufman, suggested centering the plot around the Ark of the Covenant, giving the character a more meaningful quest. Director Steven Spielberg agreed to the project only after being denied the chance to direct a James Bond film. What resulted was Raiders of the Lost Ark, a beloved adventure that combined archaeological intrigue, historical mystery, and cinematic action into an instant classic. Number 93. A town in Colorado had an unelected mayor who held the position for more than 50 years. Originally appointed as mayor pro tem because the official mayor refused to sign liquor licenses, he inherited the job when the mayor passed away. The town considered holding an election in 1974, but found the process too expensive. As a result, he kept the title for decades, becoming one of the longest-serving, unofficial public officials in American political history. Number 94. In the early 1900s, Danish farmers under Prussian rule created a pig breed known as the Danish protest pig. Forbidden from flying the red and white Danish flag, they bred pigs with similar color patterns as a symbolic act of rebellion. These pigs had white bodies with red markings, visually echoing the flag. Over time, the breed became a national symbol of cultural resistance and clever protest. Today, the Danish protest pig is officially recognized for its historical importance. Number 95 is Santa Claus didn't always wear red. In earlier versions of the legend, including depictions from Europe, he often wore green, blue, or brown robes. The modern red-suited Santa became popular in the 20th century, largely due to Coca-Cola's advertising campaigns. Artist Haddon Sundblom created a jolly, red-clad Santa that became iconic in American culture. While Coca-Cola didn't invent Santa's red outfit, their influence solidified it in the public imagination, turning St. Nicholas into the familiar figure we know today. Number 96. In France, the Disney character Moana is called Vaiana, due to a trademark conflict with a perfume brand that shares the original name. Similarly, in Italy, she is called Oceania, because the name Moana is associated with a famous adult film actress. These regional name changes show how global media must adapt to local cultural and legal contexts. Despite the different names, the film's story remains unchanged, and the character continues to inspire audiences around the world with her adventurous spirit. Number 97. An NFL player named Napoleon McCallum served in the United States Navy while playing professional football. He played for the Los Angeles Raiders during his naval assignment aboard a ship stationed in the same city. The military allowed him to take on outside employment as long as it didn't interfere with his duties. After 1 year, he was reassigned, which ended his football career temporarily. When his service concluded, McCallum returned to the NFL, making him a rare dual-career athlete. Number 98. When Jodie Foster was cast in the film Taxi Driver as a child playing a teenage sex worker, strict precautions were taken. She had to undergo psychiatric evaluations before filming and was supervised by a social worker on set at all times. For scenes with sexual content, her older sister Connie acted as a body double. The role was controversial but pivotal in Foster's career, earning her critical acclaim while also sparking debates about child actors and movie industry ethics. Number 99, Osama bin Laden's half-brother Salem bin Laden died in a bizarre aviation accident. While piloting a small plane in Texas, he struck power lines during takeoff, causing the aircraft to crash. The incident occurred in the 1980s and was ruled accidental. Salem was a key figure in the bin Laden family's business empire and had ties to American and Saudi enterprises. His death was largely forgotten until his brother Osama became infamous for orchestrating the September 11th attacks. Number 100. Up to half of all living Cherokee today can trace part of their ancestry back to a single Scottish fur trader. In the early 1700s, he married into the tribe, and his descendants spread through generations. His union represents one of many cultural exchanges between Native American tribes and European settlers. These early relationships helped shape the Cherokee Nation's demographics and history, blending. Number 101. Octopuses have 3 hearts, and 2 of them stop beating when they swim. 2 of the hearts pump blood to the gills, while the third sends it to the rest of the body. But here's the weird part. When an octopus swims, the main heart actually pauses, which is why they prefer crawling over swimming. Add that to their blue blood, regenerating limbs, and ability to change color, and you've got one of the strangest, smartest creatures in the ocean.